26-year-old third baseman takes a strike on the inside corner. Working that inside part of the plate. So important for Andy Pettitte to have success. I guess, Tim, not only inside part of the plate, but even deeper in on a hitter as the count goes to 0-2.
That's that cut fastball. Pitchers throw that by putting pressure on the middle finger. Index and the middle finger. You put pressure on the middle finger, and that actually cuts the ball in on the hitter. It's similar to a slider, but without the dot.
Last 5 starts in the postseason for Pettitte have not been good. Big ERA and 0-2 record. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Gloss.
I guess to explain that further, a slider, the spin of the slider creates the dot, and the cut fastball, the hitter can't pick up a dot, so he thinks it's going to be out over the plate, cuts in late.
That's into right field as Gloss didn't get all of it. Mondesi takes care of it. 1 away. A ball that Giambi hit off Spezio's glove at first. And Mike Scioscia told us before the game not to say that he should have made the play, but the Angels have seen Scott Spezio make that play at times this season. And he said Giambi is just so darn strong. 2 balls and a strike as Spezio cut it loose.
In Scioscia's press conference tonight, he was the one to make the first statement. The moderator said, "Questions, please." And Mike said, "Before we get started, who would have brought Percival in last night?" Give me a show of hands. Everybody in the room, all the reporters raised their hand.
Of course, that's what they all wrote today.
Exactly.
Right at the end of that 8-5 game. 1 out, nobody on. 2 balls and a strike on Spezio. Is that classic disarming your audience there?
Yes, it is.
Mike Scioscia's figured out the harder parts of managing when he can disarm the press.
The one thing that was not written about, we talked about it briefly last night, but the one thing that has not been brought up.
That's ripped into left field. Got a chance at the wall. 2-0 Angels. Spezio, who has become deadly against left-handed pitching this year, goes deep and a line drive home run doubles the lead.
Boy, did he jump on that high fastball just like Tim Salmon.
Takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Man.
Spezio last year against left-handed pitching hit .239 and slugged .312. This year hit .368 against left-handed pitching and slugged .539. As Wooten pops it up shallow right, long run Mondesi. He and Soriano nearly collide and the ball falls in. Wooten's on, I would assume, with a 1-out hit. And I'll say this, Joe Torre will gladly accept that error if it means that Raul Mondesi and Alfonso Soriano don't collide out in right field.
Right.
I mean, that's not a routine play out in right, and you have to believe that Mondesi was bothered by the body of Soriano headed out right in his direction.
That's why, in my opinion, that ball should have been a hit.
I agree. But it's an error. 1 on, 1 out. No balls, 1 strike. Molina in the hole, 0-2.
Before the Spezio home run, the one thing we were talking about in last night's game, if you're going to bring in Troy Percival, I think it would have made sense, be logical, to have brought him in with Derek Jeter, the hitter, instead of waiting for Giambi to be the hitter.
We brought it up at the time. The point that we made, though, was Percival had just gotten up and wasn't ready at that moment. That's back up the middle and a base hit. Wooten will turn and test the arm of Williams and make it. First and third, 1 out.
Great base running by Wooten. Bernie Williams looked surprised that Wooten would take third. He caught the ball, charged the ball in a hurry, but then it took him a long time to get rid of the ball, just by the diving Soriano. And Wooten, you can see Bernie Williams looked like he was surprised that Wooten would try, but with 1 out, a good time, particularly when you have the lead, to try to open things up. Excellent base running by Sean Wooten,
who has a chance to add to a 2-0 Anaheim lead. A little too much of that fastball for Gill. Strike one.
I think if this were later in the game, Mike Scioscia would think about squeezing in this situation with Wooten at third. But since it's early, by squeezing, you may thwart a big inning. Angels with one in, trying to get at least another in, with Wooten at third and less than 2 outs.
Throw over, and Molina has a very small lead.
Step and a half.
And you really have to. I mean, you can't afford in a situation like this to test Andy Pettitte if you're Molina, because he's going nowhere. Benji Gill trying to add to the Angel lead. And sliced foul. 0-2.
When Bob Brenly and I were working with you, Joe, in postseason several years ago, before Bob became the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, we both concurred that as much as the ability of Pettitte in picking off guys at first base, and he has those 67 pickoffs since '95, the most in the big leagues, it deters runners from taking middle infielders out on double play balls. So not only do you keep him close, but you protect your middle infielders at the same time.
Because they don't get up on the second base bag as quickly.
That's right. Molina's not a fast runner, but by keeping him so close to first base, any routine ground ball, a better chance for the Yankees to turn two.
Gill doing what so many Angel hitters did last night, and what Molina just did. Fell behind 0-2, and then he goes into battle mode. Pettitte was so locked in. Time had been called. He didn't know it, and he was ready to bring the ball home and stopped himself mid-delivery.
You could see everybody saying, no, whoa, whoa. There's so much torque in stopping the throw home. Often you could pull a rib cage muscle doing that.
Here's an 0-2. That's why most pitchers are told that if they're in that situation, just go ahead and throw it.
Right, right. Because that sudden stop, boom, you pop the rib cage muscle.
There's a guy who will never pull a rib cage muscle on deck. It's got to be the loosest rib cage in Major League Baseball by the time he gets to the plate. It was 0-2, now it's 2-2. He personifies what the Angels have done this season and what they'll try to do here tonight. Stay pesky, keep clawing after you. And after losing last night in heartbreaking fashion, here are the Angels up by 2 in the second with a chance for more. Gill held it, and it's a full count.
It appeared that he did check his swing. So after going 0-2, it's now 3-2. Barely checking his swing. Does Ben Molina run at first base? If you do run, you have to make sure Pettitte goes home. You cannot get picked off in this situation. Nodding to Alfredo Griffin, the first base coach, who just told him the same thing.
In Spanish.
Right.
Not even running, and Gill floats one into right for a base hit. It's 3-0 Anaheim. Molina holds it second. Benji Gill, who had the count against him 0-2, worked it to a full count, gets the fourth. Actually, he's the fourth consecutive Angel to reach. Here's Eckstein. He flied out to left his first time up. Runners on at first and second, one out, 3-0 Anaheim. Golfed into center field and easy for Williams. That's twice Eckstein's hit it in the air, 2 out. Anaheim has successfully taken the crowd out of this one in the early inning. Erstad off balance, pops it up. Foul ground for Posada, and the inning is over, but not before the Angels come up with 2. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error, 2 left. After an inning and a half, 3-0 Anaheim.